What is good with it, YouTube world? Is Coffee tapping back in with an update. And I don't know if y'all have seen this big news hitting the headlines everywhere, all over the news cycle. Robert De Niro's trans daughter, Airyn Deniro, has come out to the world and just did this big interview, right? That's just hitting the headlines like crazy. And just to clarify to everyone, right? De Niro's trans daughter, Airyn Deniro, was born as Robert De Niro's son. And don't even come at me. I know that's HATE speech or whatever for just clarifying that to everyone out there. You know what I mean? Like, I personally just think that's ludicrous where individuals, and I'm not saying everyone's on some ish trying to make it like everyone's out trying to offend someone or something, but just clarifying it. So wait, you know what I mean? Because through all the reports and everything, it's like, wait a second. So is that, like, is she transitioning this way or that way or whatever? You know what I mean? As you know, everyone is like walking on eggshells and tiptoeing around certain news topics and issues and very selective with words when reporting on situations. And you know what I mean? Like, I just can't see nothing wrong with just clarifying that. Comment anyone out there if you felt a little confused by the reports and whatnot, as well as everything else we touch on this video. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to sub up if you're new. Always got to hear from the people in the comments over here, you know. But part of what Airyn Deniro spoke about in the interview is that Robert De Niro, one of the biggest actors ever, quite possibly the biggest, some individuals would say, obviously been a part of huge movies, all them Scorsese movies, Goodfellas, everything else, and all the awards and accolades and the long career that he has that has pushed on. And the mother of Airyn, right, is also an actress. So they decided they wanted to try to keep the family life in the cut, out of the public eye. And I totally understand that. You know what I mean? You don't want the paparazzi all up in your business when you're trying to raise a family. It's no way to live. And I feel them on that. But why I point that out is because Airyn mentioned it in the interviews, speaking about this whole transition thing and all that. But also when I was speaking about clarifying the situation, De Niro's family's been in the cut. So like, individuals don't know the makeup of his family like that, like daughters, sons, etc. But for the record, Airyn De Niro was born Robert De Niro's son and has a twin brother as well. And I guess the paparazzi actually ran into Airyn De Niro and Robert De Niro recently and took all these pictures, and there was these headlines hitting and everything like that. As you see the report stating, in the weeks following her visit to the location, paparazzi snapped a photo of Airyn visiting her dad at the Greenwich Hotel. The tabloids wasted no time in reporting on her, quote, new look with all the grace in manosphere. Podcaster, quote, Robert De Niro's Nepo baby son shows off shock transformation with heels and pink hair in rare sighting. That was on March 19th from the Daily Mail. And I think that was part of what Airyn De Niro's decision making in doing this interview. What's a Nepo baby? Someone let me know. And Airyn said, quote, I actually didn't find out about the Daily Mail thing, which is the media outlet we were just speaking on that took these pictures and put these headlines out there thing, until like a week after it was posted. That was Robert De Niro. Airyn tells me in her that was Airyn De Niro. Tells the interviewer in her characteristically soft, lifting soprano. Out of all the tabloids got wrong, she says that two aspects of their reporting stood out to her. For one, the articles mostly regurgitated facts about her parents and twin brother, but they also called her a Nepo baby, despite her low profile and ongoing efforts to gain success independently away from Robert De Niro's name and all that, right? As I guess Airyn does gaming and ish like that. I don't know. Again, comment anyone if you're familiar with this story. As always, this is about debating, discussing news and topics over here. They were attention-grabbing headlines and nothing more, barely mentioning Airyn herself outside of her gender presentation or proximity to fame. And I don't know, that's what it seems to me like is going on here, that they, caught these pictures and was like, oh, like paparazzi, just threw the headlines out there. So then De Niro's trans daughter decided to come out to the world with all this. But what I want to know, what I want to think, right, is, or want to know what everyone thinks is, this last election, something that was kind of shocking to me was Robert De Niro was going in on Trump. I was like shocked. I correct me if I'm wrong. Once again, I don't claim to be no expert over here, but I don't ever really remember Robert De Niro being a political dude like that, or getting involved in elections and things of that nature. I could be wrong, but I just don't remember it. And then I remember some of the speeches he was giving and stuff like that. He was talking crazy about Trump, just really going in. I was like, damn, De Niro, I've never seen this side of you. But why I bring that up and what I'm getting at, and curious to know what everyone thinks about this, is I wonder if him dissing the fuck out of Trump like that had anything to do with some of this stuff that we're seeing in the news. Like, yes, this hadn't happened at this point. As you see, the news is talking about all this. They're calling Trump anti-trans and all this policies that he's putting into play or whatever. And, again, tapping everyone, let's discuss it in the comments. Like, that hadn't happened when De Niro was speaking out, right, and dissing him prior to the election. But, I'm sure there was talks of that. And, is that what motivated De Niro to diss the fuck out of Trump? Is his son transitioned to daughter, Airyn Deniro? You know what I mean? Is that what it is? Once again, I truly want to know what y'all think. That's what this Jade Coffee Talk platform is all about. But check it out, right? Airyn Deniro also was saying, and I think maybe this could be part of growing up with a star to the caliber of Robert De Niro as your father, and then your mother is in the acting game as well. Like, that's a lot to have going on and a lot to comprehend as a kid coming up. And then the fact that, your dad's trying to keep the family in the cut and live a very private life. Airyn said, I was always told I was too much of something or not enough of something growing up. Too big, not skinny enough, not black enough, not white enough, too feminine, not masculine enough. It was never just you're right, just the way you are. What do y'all take from that? And then it says, another quote from Airyn is, people of color and queer people definitely need more mental health advocacy and support. So I'm hoping I'm able to do that. And there's also reference to actress Halle Berry, who played the Little Mermaid, in her dreadlocks, was a part of Airyn De Niro getting pink dreadlocks and coming out to the world. Like, it sounds like aside from being like, hey, I want to become a woman, also some of the quotes you heard about, you're not black enough, you're not white enough, I don't know, it just seems like this individual has had a lot of questions about their identity, and like I said, being pushed away into the, like, cut by your major successful father who's trying to keep privacy for his family. It just seems like a lot for a kid to deal with for whatever coming up. Let me know if you believe that to be true in your thoughts. But also, like I said, all this stuff, all these like news reports, and you'll see some of them on the screen in this video, where they're talking about like pride parades or whatever, that trans people, there was actually reports. Again, pay attention to all the images popping up on the screen. As always, in all my content, everything you see means something, even if it feels like, wait, why does he have that in there? There's some kind of symbology or something, but there's all these reports like trans people shouldn't travel, it could be dangerous. These policies that Trump is putting into play is like revving up people to bring out the hate, and it could be dangerous. Do you guys think that's straight up propaganda, or do you think that's something there? And again, do you think that that was the catalyst for and has something to do with for De Niro dissing Trump leading into this election? You know, that there was word circulating that Trump was going to enact certain things into his policies and stuff like that, or what? Because it just seems so out of character to me to see De Niro getting all political like that. Like, I swear, again, I could be wrong, but I just do not remember that being any part of Robert De Niro's Get Down. You know what I mean? So let's get this discussion going in the comments. And like always, you know, you can't, like, that's part of why I like to discuss everything on here, because just like Airyn Deniro was saying, oh, a lot of these, and again, what's a Nepo baby, y'all? I have no fucking clue. But just like Airyn Deniro was saying, they just, in these, the Daily Mail snapping photos of her meeting with her pops at a Greenwich hotel, and then putting out all these Nepo baby headlines and all this. And just, they mostly were attention grabbing headlines that just regurgitated facts about De Niro and the mother, who's also an actor. Right, like a lot of news stuff. That's the idea over here. Once again, if you're new, please subscribe. We talk about music, we talk about sports, we talk about news, we talk a little political stuff and all that. And it's all, you know, I need the engagement, I need the support, but more importantly, I need to hear from y'all out there. But it's like the news, you can't just regurgitate. You should never just regurgitate anything. You know what I mean? You should always independently think for yourself and all that. But it just feels like now more than ever, the way news sites are rocking and media outlets, they're just putting out BS that people regurgitate, and there is a lot of propaganda or just back and forth drama against individuals trying to divide and conquer and stir up ish. You know what I'm saying? Because like I was pointing out, like, yo, me pointing out after you see all these headlines that are a bit confusing, and again, De Niro's kept his family life very private. It was a bit confusing to me. So wait, okay, that's De Niro's son transitioned into a daughter. That's not hate speech. That's not disrespectful. That's just me clarifying things. You know what I mean? But a lot of news will throw that flunkery and bullish out there. And it's just a crazy world we're living in these days. Slim, Pete's sakes, put down Christopher Reeve's legs. Y'all remember that from the one Eminem joint? But yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Robert De Niro's daughter, Airyn Deniro, on her journey and going at the Daily Mail, correcting things and all that. And Robert De Niro and the way he was turned up to diss Donald Trump. Do you think there's any connection there at all? And, you know, what is your thoughts about everything else? Let's talk about it. Subscribe, and I'm up out of here, guys. Peace.